All right, I found my stethoscope. Dr. Danny back in the house, took a little lunch break, and then I got a whole new batch of patients. By the end of the week, we'll have gone through every division. Let's find the ailments and the cures for all of the teams in the AFC West. We were just talking about our first patient here, the Las Vegas Raiders. And I got to say, Andrew Filipponi made a pretty compelling case, because if he is Joe Burrow, Fernando Mendoza, you figure out the rest of the team later. But I would trade down. Because I'm not at all convinced that he is Joe Burrow. And I thought that he was a very talented quarterback with an incredible coach and an old team around him with all of the intangibles there. And again, I expect the Raiders to have Tom Brady try to develop Fernando Mendoza because of the intangibles and processing and post-snap reading and all that. I expect them to do that. But the Raiders, if you look at what their issues are, I mean, this is a laundry list of problems. I need a longer prescription pad to fix all of these things. Like, you gave up a lot of points. You didn't get a lot of turnovers. You didn't force a lot of turnovers. You didn't really throw the ball. You got blown out. You got sacked a lot. You didn't rush very well. You didn't score a lot, and you got outrushed. You know, it's like well, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln House, you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's a lot, and this is a classic supply and demand issue. It is not a good quarterback draft. There's a lot of teams that need a quarterback. So someone's going to be in love with Mendoza. And if the Bears were able to get everything they were able to get in the Bryce Young draft, when C.J. Stroud was right behind him, so there were two QBs, if there's only one QB at the top, you're going to have that many more teams willing to make you a huge package to trade up and get him. I would try to plug more holes, and I would trade down. Willie, I know you agree. Greg, what about you?
So it's a compelling take, Doc.
Thank you.
I would address. I would go and get a second opinion.
Okay.
Somewhere else, because
I always advise that for my patients.
I'm not sure. I'm not certain if I would pass on him. I don't believe that he's Joe Burrow right out the gate, but I'm not sure if I would pass on him because it's one of those things that if you feel like you can get your quarterback now and he's available, unless somebody tells you by picking up that phone and offering you something that is that shows you they love him more than we love him, and you know that you have all those voids to fill, then you take your quarterback. If that doesn't happen, then you take your quarterback because that's one peg that is filled, which is it's typically the hardest one to plug in. So I wouldn't trade down unless a team comes and says, we love him more than you.
I also think if you do acquire him and you pick him up, the need for him to play is going to be right at your front door. They're going to want to see him early. And I think you burn out quarterbacks. I covered the Jets when Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, and then those guys walked in the building. They were asked to be Jesus in cleats. They were burnt out by November because the demand around them and the level of talent just wasn't there. And the media scrutiny, and everybody was like, man, we drafted you this high. We want you to be this guy. Why aren't you him? And then you look at the offensive line. Then you look at the receiver. Then you look at the defense. You're like, man, I'm only one guy. And I'm looking at this young fella who I think, sure, had an amazing college career, finished with a national championship, Heisman, love all that. It's a team sport. We looked at this playoff. Look at the playoffs right now. You know what we're highlighting? We weren't just highlighting the quarterbacks. We were highlighting the defenses, right? We talked about the defenses all playoffs, how good the Texans and Chargers and Patriots, even going into the Super Bowl, how both defenses, who was going to show up, who would have the edge. Very little talked about was like, well, you know, with Sam Darnold, the journeyman, he'll get there, but we felt good about it because of the team that was behind him. Drake May, we felt good about the defense that backed him. Mendoza's not walking into any of that, right? And so if you're going to get him, understand you got to respect the process and the project. Do not throw him out there because the fans demand it and you lose it. You're having a losing season because you're going to burn him out and you're not going to have nothing for the future.
That is a man who has been impacted by the New York Jets.
Definitely been impacted by the Jets.
Well, my next patient is the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, whew, this is one of those rare conditions. I haven't seen this much before.
So no cream could cure that?
Wait, no, you're gonna need quite a cocktail to figure this one out because you got to hit a home run with the 9th pick in the draft because it is very rare for a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback to get a top 10 pick in the middle of his prime. In fact, it's never happened before for the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs traded up from 27 to 10 to take Mahomes. Every year since then, they either haven't had a first-round pick or they've been picking 21st as their best or it's 31st or 32nd because he's just in the Super Bowl. So this is a really unique and maybe singular in the career of Patrick Mahomes' opportunity to land an impact player. Jeremiah Love is going to be mocked to them because people say, well, he can be Jahmyr Gibbs. Listen, if he's Jahmyr Gibbs, great. I tend to think the biggest value you need to hit on a premium position, pass rusher, wide receiver at that spot. So I think they're going to try for a little bit more upside in terms of positional value. If Reuben Bain from Miami is still there, I like that. But I think the Chiefs they need to hit a home run with this pick inside the top 10.
Yeah, and unfortunately for me, DP, it starts on the offensive line, right? We've seen Patrick Mahomes get hit a lot this season, especially when he was healthy. And we saw his progression and his process get sped up solely because he couldn't trust his offensive line. He didn't have a run game that can stabilize the offense. And yeah, defensively, they may have some needs, especially if they lose a Trent McDuffie or they lose a Sam Chanel. Overall, man, I do look at what they need to acquire right now. If you get a premium, high-quality offensive lineman, that guy carries you for the next 5 or 10 years if he's legit at his position. You go get a wide receiver, man, who knows where he lands and what he looks like in the offense, if he's a fit or if he's not.
This is going to be one of the most debated 9th picks in the history of the NFL draft.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It's quite simple. Go get Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, running back, no problem.
Go get him.
Okay.
Go get him.
I mean, if it's
Go get him.
we're going to have to follow up on
get
that.
him.
I know what is not making sense. Let me understand it. To throw the ball, you need an offensive line, right?
Well, they've been trying
run-
to get the offensive line right every year.
Right, and you keep swinging. To run the ball, you need an offensive line. So where does it start?
Well,
With the offensive line.
If I get my running back to leak out a little bit, just give him the ball, then Jeremiah, make something happen.
I got to be honest.
Yeah.
When I hear the comp is Gibbs or Christian McCaffrey, I'm like, oh, those guys are pretty good. Next into my office, you may have heard me talk
You
about
like
this
shiny
patient.
things. You're big into the.
I do.
You're big into shiny.
My wife says her favorite color is sparkles. It's expensive around the holidays, let me tell you. That's why I'm a doctor. It pays well. The Los Angeles Chargers, you got an issue, and that is protecting your prized commodity. You got to protect Justin Herbert. I got a solution for you because Alt and Slater are coming back.
Yeah.
Sign Tyler Linderbaum. Jim Harbaugh knows John Harbaugh.
Don't hate it.
John Harbaugh was the coach of Tyler Linderbaum with the Ravens. He can give Jim a recommendation, say, yeah, this was our best offensive lineman. You give him a great center who plays, you get the tackles back, you anchor the interior of the offensive line, you got 5 cap space, so just outspend everyone else, anchor your offensive line, Justin Herbert's upright, MVP season for Justin Herbert, Greg. It's that easy.
It is that
best
easy.
diagnosis you've getting all.
It is that easy. However, with the Chargers, it's always something, man. Like, as great as that sounds,
it sounds great.
It never tends to work out that way for the Chargers. But this will be great. I don't know if Baltimore is going to let them.
Well, they declines they're not going to franchise tag him because they'd have to pay him like a tackle and he's a center, and they decline the 5th-year option. So they want to bring him back.
Yeah.
But anybody can make him an offer.
Exactly. We'll see what that offer looks like. He might be still wearing purple.
I'm learning. Invest in the trenches.
Starts with what, Greg? The offensive line. There you go. Right. Ends with the offensive line. Just trying to help you out, bud.
All right, last patient for the AFC West visiting Dr. Danny's office was the Denver Broncos. And this was a weird case because I got to be honest, they were more successful than I thought they were. A lot of their underlying issues suggested that they got some problems. So I would say find a weapon for Sean Payton because I don't think what you did last year was sustainable. If you look at the number of wins that they had when they scored fewer than 20 points, that is one of the, in the last 10 seasons, you had the most. That is just not normal. And you were doing it against bad teams often. And so it's like, you had an incredible season, no doubt. You maybe should have been in the Super Bowl if Bo Nix didn't get hurt. So I'm not saying at all that you are far away. But whether it is a receiver, a running back, or a tight end, I know you say build in the offensive line. Their offensive line's good. Their quarterback's good. Their coach is good. Their defense is excellent. Like, you need some weapon. And I don't really have a bias here on running back, tight end, or wide receiver. You just need something else that Sean Payton can use that big old offensive brain on to scare opponents. They need to score more points in Denver.
Yeah, I'm with you on this, Doc. This is spot on. They have to have another weapon because what they currently have in the prescription that I don't know if you prescribed it for them last year or another doctor prescribed it. It works, but it's expiring.
Oh,
it's definitely
expired
expiring.
medicine.
So, yeah, and you can't.
Do you risk it, or do you trust like the sell by date?
well, being that I can't get a refill, I'm going to go to another doctor and see if they can prescribe me something different.
That's good. But is he within your provider or not? I don't know. We beat this metaphor into the ground.
Yeah, it sounds like you dragged this one.
I'm just saying, the premiums at my office are very high, is all I'm saying. To get this expert medical opinion, it costs quite a bit of money. He carried that metaphor almost as long as we carried the doctor metaphor going forward. Greg, I'll start with you here. Do you think the Patriots are built to return to the Super Bowl?
Of course. Look, anytime a team has the opportunity to get to a Super Bowl and they are this young, they have what he's alluding to, a roster that's pretty much all coming back, a young quarterback. Why not? We believe that the Seattle Seahawks are built to return. This is a team that obviously is built to return. Now, does that mean that they will return? Absolutely not, because you have to put in the work. The schedule is going to be different. We all know that, and we'll see what Drake May does in year 3. But in terms of what Mike Vrabel is explaining, that's exactly right. You add pieces to what you feel like is a team that is already primed and prepped to do the job and get the job done. So this team is great defensively. Obviously, we know the issues on the offensive line. Willie, I wrote it down right here. Offensive line.
Left side.
It helps when you
Left.
Yeah.
Now, maybe they improve. Maybe that year of experience they gain from it. We'll see. But they definitely are going to have an answer for that. And you add some more pieces. But Mike Vrabel is spot on right here.
Yeah, I think the foundation is set. If they're going out there without any upgrades, and I think the 2 upgrades they need is pass rusher and in the receiving core. I don't think Stephon Diggs is him anymore. Too many distractions. I think his best years are behind him. I think they got to figure out what they're going to do with Hunter Henry, who didn't show up for them in the playoffs. I also think right now, if you're Drake May, you're no longer a secret. That's the bottom line. You had an MVP type season. People are expecting you to be the guy, and they're going to go after the guy. And we saw it work with the defensive line pressure that was opposed on him. He kind of shelled up a little bit. So, without the additions, I think right now they won't be able to make it. If they do make the upgrades, which hopefully they do, I think they have a shot. But I think it's going to be tougher than what it was last year, because I think the Patriots have earned the league's respect. Mike Vrabel has earned the league's respect. Josh McDaniels. So I think and you've been a part of Super Bowl teams like me. When you come back around, you get your opponent's best. And that's what we're going to see if he's really that guy this year, because no longer we're going to look at Drake May as this young, cute story. They're going to look at him as an elite quarterback in the NFL.
So last year about Washington, I said better team, worse record, because it felt like they overachieved in their NFC Championship game season. Jaden was so good. They caught everybody by surprise. Detroit was super injured in that playoff game where they, scored 31 but gave up 45. And then I thought that they added Tunsil and they added Debo, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to be right on this. But then Jaden gets hurt. Their defense was worse than I thought, and they ended up falling apart. So there's no guarantee that you get back. But I actually am going to apply that same logic to New England. I think they're on paper going to be better. Like Drake May will be more experienced. The left side of the offensive line will have experience, and whether they move Campbell inside the guard or they just get better with more games played, whatever the case may be. But they got a lot of cap space, and when you have a stud MVP caliber quarterback on a rookie deal, you could go make aggressive moves for expensive veterans. We saw the Texans do it with Daniil Hunter when they thought they had locked up Stroud. I just mentioned going and getting Debo and Laramie Tunsil for Washington. Like, the Patriots are the prime team to trade the 31st pick in the draft and go get a stud veteran who's making $25 million this year. You know what I mean? And really try to seize on Drake May's rookie contract. So I think they will be better on paper, but because the schedule will be tougher, they're not going to catch anybody by surprise. And how the league works, they'll probably go from 14 wins down to 10 or 11. But they still might be actually a better team, even with a worse record and a tougher path to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm with that. To your point, Willie, you talk about being on a Super Bowl team. Not a single Super Bowl team believes that the next year we have no chance.
Right.
Yeah, you guys all think you're getting back.
We all think that we're getting back. Very few understands what Mike Vrabel understands. We're young. We have the core pieces intact for years to come. And nothing that is of value is really walking away. Nothing of value is really going out. Everything is, we're making deposits right now, and that's what they have to do. To your point, I think that to get to 14 wins, I didn't think the Minnesota Vikings could repeat it, even if Sam Darnold came back. Like, it's hard to do,
tough to do
year in and year out. But to your point again, as I was saying, because they win 10 or 11 games doesn't still make them an out to not be able to contend. I think this is a team that is built, of course, everybody's going to have their attention, but they also know we got everybody's attention. We have to improve. We have to be better. We have to prove that what we were last year, we can still be that and more this year.
So like them, the Bears, the Broncos, like teams that feel like they have their quarterback on the rookie deal, but they don't have to pay him yet and think that they're like a player away, they're the teams that are going to be linked to like A.J. Brown, Trey Hendrickson, Max Crosby, like the expensive veteran who can change teams for a trade in a late first-round pick and make those are the exact types of teams that make those types of moves.
Trey Hendricks in a Patriots uniform is nasty.
That's what I'm saying.
That's big dog status.
That is the type of move that I
expect. Ball player.
I think those are the types of moves that I would expect the Patriots to be shopping in this offseason, and then that would obviously impact how we view them going forward. First piece of the NFL offseason, the window actually opens today. Franchise tag window opens. You have until March 3rd, and then if you offer the franchise tag, the player doesn't have to sign it. You could try to negotiate a long-term deal off of the franchise tag into July. You could still trade a guy off a franchise tag. So this is a very fluid situation. But we put together a list of potential franchise tag candidates that are out there. I only see one lock to be offered the franchise tag.
Really?
Pickens will be offered it.
Only one?
So
I see three.
You see three?
Yes.
Locks. Okay, Pickens is one.
Pickens, Pitts, Breece Hall.
Breece Hall is the lock.
The lock?
Yeah, Breece Hall is definitely the lock.
Breece Hall
G's right. Like, they're not going to let their best player on offense just walk away. Like, they will handcuff him as long as they're allowed
to see who your lock is.
Well, so I said Pickens 1, and then I thought Pitts 2. I thought that Kyle, because the number for a tight end isn't crazy expensive, and what he showed towards the end of the year where he was finally living up to his potential, I would just be sick to my stomach if I was the Falcons and I invested what I invested in him in the draft, and then he finally started to break out and live up to it, to then have him walk. Because like he did look finally like he could be a top 10, top 5 tight end, so you wouldn't have any problem with him playing under the franchise.
I don't negate that, but that's football. That's how the league works sometimes. I mean, for Breece Hall, you got to understand, when Aaron Glenn got the job, he was promised they were going to be a physical outfit with a good offensive line and a run game. They lose Breece Hall, all that goes to the waste. They need to keep him in the building. Now, he may not want to be there. He's been trying to get out of there for some time. But Woody Johnson, Aaron Glenn, they're saying, hey, young man, I know what you want, but this is what we need. We need you to remain a Jet. They're not going to let Breece Hall just walk down the road to somebody else like a Kansas City Chiefs and off you go to another Super Bowl. That's not happening.
Okay, well, and then I will also say, I think that they will offer it to Daniel Jones, but then work out a contract extension. Like, I do not expect Daniel Jones to play under the franchise tag. No. I think he will sign a contract extension so that they don't have to do the tag.
Yeah. So your one is obviously
my one is Pickens. Pickens. They're not getting nothing for George Pickens.
Correct. Pickens is kind of one of those guys that's like, of course,
or just a comp pick.
Kyle Pitts is an interesting one though.
Yeah, listen, Pitts, again, I think what he finally flashed at the end, it's such a tantalizing talent, and the top of the tight end position is so good, but it's like, is he a top 10 tight end in terms of talent? Absolutely. So if he played a year under the tag, I don't think Atlanta would be mad at it.
Also pay attention to when he popped, when Kirk Cousins was in the lineup.